because without energy, the organisms can't do any activity. All organisms need the energy for any activity in their lives. Our cells need the energy for the essential processes that take place inside the cell, and the whole organism need the energy for its activities. Now, let's start from the very important organism, because it is the first step, if we say, in the energy pyramid. Okay, that how? Because it needs energy, as all organisms need energy, but it takes it directly from the sunlight. So plants and some other algae, like what we will study later, okay, have the ability to absorb the energy from the sunlight, because, as what you remember, I think, they have chlorophyll, this substance that exists in an organelle called chloroplast inside the leaf cells. This chlorophyll has the ability to absorb the sunlight, and the carbon dioxide can enter through holes to the leaves inside to the cells. Also, the water will be absorbed to reach every cell in the leaves. Finally, the leaves are able to make the sugar and to produce or to release the oxygen. So it's not written here, I will write it. What do the plants produce? When they get the energy from the sunlight, they produce sugar. What is the name of this sugar? It's glucose. Okay, so they use carbon dioxide. I will write it quickly. I will not talk about it a lot because it will have its separated lesson. It's very important, very important. With water plus sunlight energy, let's write light energy. Okay, what they will produce? Sugar, glucose plus oxygen. So the plants depend on the sunlight energy, and they take it directly. Finally, the sunlight energy will be converted into chemical energy that will be stored in the glucose. So other organisms that can't make this sugar, they will depend on eating the plants or eating other organisms that eat plants to get the energy from it. Okay, I forgot. I have to remind you, for sure. I asked you when we were in the class, what is the name of this process? Carbon dioxide plus water plus sunlight energy makes glucose and oxygen. What is the name of this process? It is photosynthesis. I think there is no one can be in grade 6 and doesn't know it, or I think no one. Okay, so finally, this is for us as human. We can't do photosynthesis. Animals can't have photosynthesis. So from where we get our energy? We get it because we eat plants. Also, we eat meat. What is the meat? The meat comes from the animals. What do the animals eat? They eat plants. So finally we get our energy from the plants. The plants make it for us. So that's why the plants are called producers. This is very important. The plants, I will summarize what I talked about. I know I'm talking a lot. The plants are producers. Plants and algae are producers because they produce their own food, which is the sugar, glucose. How? From the energy that they absorb it from the sunlight. So they absorb the energy from the sunlight using some materials, carbon dioxide and water. They make the sugar, glucose, and they produce the oxygen. That's it. Okay, let's go now to the other organisms. We said plants are producers, but other animals that can't make their own food. Why? Because they don't have this magical substance, chlorophyll. They don't have this very special organelle in their cells that is called chloroplast. So they are not able to absorb the sunlight. If we or the animals stay under the sunlight all the daytime, can we take any benefit from the sunlight to make our own food inside our cells? For sure no. For sure no. We don't have chlorophyll. We are not green. Okay, so how we get it? How we get the energy? We gain the energy by eating. We are eaters. We can move to eat plants and some others. Some animals eat only plants. If you remember, we call them herbivores. I will show you. Some other animals eat only animals. They are carnivores. This is only for reminding. And some eat both plants and animals, and they are called consumers. All are called that what eat animals and plants are called omnivores, but all of them they are called consumers. This will be very clear in the next slide. Organisms such as worms. Finally, the last type of organisms that they don't make their own food, they don't eat, they can't move to eat, and they are not able to eat any kind of food. So how they gain the energy, how they get the energy? They get it by breaking down the dead organisms or the leftover dead materials or the remains of the dead of the organisms. So decaying materials, we said. Now what I mean, when animals die, when plants die, or the wastes of them, what will happen to them? Some microscopic organisms, or sometimes bigger than microscopic, like the fungi, like mushroom, or some worms. They are not microscopic like bacteria and and some fungi. The rest of the fungi and the worms are not microscopic. Okay. So what they can do, they don't eat these dead materials. Actually, they break them down by some chemical processes. They produce some juices, some chemical juices. These chemical juices will react with these materials and will break them down. After break them down, they will convert them into nutrients. Then these organisms will absorb the nutrients. That's it. What do we call them? We call them decomposers. We call them decomposers. That's it. Let's go only to the next picture and we are done for today. Here, yes, here we talk about this slide is the correct one, and here are the pictures of the three types of the organisms. Up here you can see the producer. All of these are producers. Here all of these are consumers, but as what you see here, we have herbivores, omnivores, and carnivores. Herbivores, they eat plants only, while omnivores, they eat both plants and animals, like us. Finally, carnivores, they eat only animals. Okay, the last type is the decomposers. Decomposers, as what we said, they break down the dead materials and the remains of the dead materials. We have very small part of the lesson. We will finish it. That we said all living things grow during some period of their lives, at least a small period of their lives or bigger period, but they have to grow. They have to grow and change for sure. Your picture when you were a very small newborn is different. Also your picture when you were in KG, in grade 1, now you look different. After few years also, when you become an adult, a mature adult, you will look different than now. So this growing because you are living thing. Okay, now we said that there are two types of living things, unicellular and multicellular. What do you think? How the growth is different between the unicellular and the multicellular? Actually, unicellular organisms that are made of one cell only can grow to a very limited size. Yani the one cell, like what we have seen in the bacteria, if it grows to the maximum size, it will stay very small and microscopic. It can't grow to be very large. For example, a small bacteria, we can't see it under the microscope, and the biggest bacteria we can see, no. All of them, they are microscopic, and can't be seen without a microscope, and they are small. Okay, so once it reaches its maximum size, it will divide as what we have seen in the binary fission. Then we have the multicellular organism. How they grow? Actually, I want to ask a question. Do you think multicellular organisms like you grow by the growth of the size of the cells, or by increasing the number of the cells, yani by multiplying the cells? I know that you, when we were in the class, you answered correct answer. You said for sure by multiplying or increasing the number of the cells. So the number of the cells in your body is bigger, maybe thousands of times than the number of the cells when you were a baby. Okay, so inshallah we are done for today, and that is everything. We have very little part of the lesson. We will finish it tomorrow in the next part of this series of videos inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.